Ching Cafe. My name is Belinda Dustin, and we are here for our 2024 overview, looking at how the I Ching can help us receive insight and work with change for this entire year to come. And no doubt you'll come back to this episode many times to reflect on what it is throughout 2024 that you can do to focus your attention. So when we do these annual overviews, we start with asking, what were we supposed to learn from 2023, from the year before? What were our learnings and hurdles and obstacles being drawn towards? Where were we growing in the year? Now, obviously, with our monthlies and our weeklies, we deep dive into those processes on a weekly and a monthly basis. But this is now looking back, bird's eye view, right? At this time of the year, we withdraw, we look back at 2023. What were the learnings? So I cast the coins, asking the I Ching, what were we learning in 2024? What do we have in common we were all sharing in our learning journey? So our first hexagram, our first flow of change we were learning about last year is hexagram 17, following. This is the hexagram of following something, of being drawn forward, of not trying to come up with clever ideas of how we should work things or make things happen or force things, but learning how to trust the process. It's almost in life this idea of when we are going along, we don't know what we need to do next. We know we need to just put one foot in front of the other. We trust the process. We say things like, right, I don't know what the next step is, but I'm going to take a step, and then the step after it will appear. And it's trusting that process. And as we make progress, we find the next step. We have to just trust the steps that are unfolding in front of us. They are leading us to this higher mission, right? This higher goal, this higher ideal that we are working towards, that we're being drawn forward to. And our task is just to follow the steps in front of us, not to overthink, go too fast, think too far ahead, but just have a meaningful thing. That star that you are following, like the Magi following the star of Bethlehem, this idea of having a star that is drawing you forward, be that your principle, a goal, something that's really important to you, your values, something you just feel called to do. What is the thing that you have been following? And so as we look back in 2023, reflect, what was the thing that you were following that was calling you forward, that was making you get up every morning and doing what needs to get done? It was a challenging year for us all. There is no one I've spoken to who said that was a breeze. 2023 was, high intensity. Put those gum guards in, get dressed up and suited up for doing the work and being prepared for what was needed to be done. So we were learning how to follow, how to not just follow the steps in front of us, but recognize that in doing that, we create a following behind us. We open up a pathway, because now suddenly we show the people that, there's a step 2, step 3, step 4. Come behind us, follow us. All you have to do is just work with us and we'll move forward. So a powerful way of learning how to trust the process, even though you can't see all the steps that are ahead of you, is to trust what's with you in the moment. Take that step, then take the next step, and then take the next step. Now we have one changing line for this question of what we'll be learning in 2023. In the first position, all right, something new coming in. Remember that line comes into the bottom. It brings in a new energy. It brings in the beginning of the following. And this line said that the following, the thing that was drawing us forward, helped us to kind of get out of where we were, get the process started, right? To leave behind our old way, what we were doing, and move into new experiences, new people, new energy, to leave behind the old. And this was a very powerful part of our learning journey, particularly for the first 6 months of the year, because we only have one changing line. It takes the whole year cycle and puts that little changing line in the middle and divides the year up into 2 halves, right? So last year, the energy built up to this line round about the middle of the year, round about the 30th of June. We were all going out of our comfort zones. That was part of our learning, right? Does it ever feel like we're not trying to get out of our comfort zones or being shoved out, right? We were coming out of our comfort zones. We were leaving behind the old. We were stepping into new things, new experiences. That is what we were supposed to be doing. So if you felt that you held on to your old way, okay, in 2023, that old way invariably would come to bring you a big smack, okay, because that's what happens in life. We resist, all right, it comes to shake us and get us moving forward. So if we were following the flow, if we were trusting the process, if we were just showing up every day and putting one foot in front of the other, we would be honoring the flow of change that we were supposed to be learning about. We would be working with this idea of leaving behind the old and going into new experiences. So if we use these I Ching hexagrams as a moment of learning and reflection, we can turn them into kind of coaching questions, right? We can say, right, let's take that changing line and we can turn it into a coaching question. What new experiences were you drawn into in 2023 that got you out of a stuck place, that got you moving, that got you connected to the next phase of your journey, the next stepping stone in that river, right? We don't know where the next stone is. We're standing on a little rock and the river's all around us. Where's the next foothold? Ah, I see it, right? But it means leaving behind the old. What did you leave behind? What old ways, old friends, old connections, old habits were you willing to let go of for the greater good, for the thing that you have been working towards? And how did that help you? And if you held on to things of the past, how did that harm you? Very often, the mere process of making these processes or these kind of learning journeys visible, they have an exponentially powerful impact on our path, on our ability to move forward. So going back to those coaching questions is a very powerful thing. And of course, Hexagram 17, what were we following? What was calling you forward? What was getting you to get up every day, out of bed, even if you didn't want to? What was calling you to make a difference and to show up for others and to keep being part of your world? What was that thing driving you forward that was calling you into the next phase of life? So that's our one flow of change, but there's a second flow of change, which would have been stronger towards the end of the year as it built up in energy. And that is Hexagram 45, gathering together or amassing. This is the harvest hexagram. So I hope for you, you were learning how to harvest, okay? Thinking and tuning into this idea of what does it mean to gather together the resources I need. This hexagram I often refer to as the cloud and the crowd, okay? Gathering a crowd, an audience, right? And building and gathering in the clouds, gathering in information, stepping into lead generation, new clients, broader, social marketing campaigns. It's about really reaching out and connecting with a large group of people. Just if you were a performer on a stage, reaching out to your fans, right? Massive, big group of fans, and calling to them and mobilizing them and gathering them towards you. So our learning, the second aspect of our learning was how to follow, how to trust, how to take one step at a time in the direction of our purpose. The second hexagram has been about learning how to gather resources, right? Learning how important it is to have resources, to have a network, to have connections, to work at building our capacity to mobilize a large group of people. Now, resources, if you're not in a business, for example, can be resources to support you, can be finances, it can be that harvest for you. So where was your learning being geared and tuned into this idea of harvesting, gathering the resources, tapping into a much bigger audience? Perhaps that's a big online community, okay? It can be a big, massive online group where you're thinking about bigger ideas, right? Reaching a bigger audience, a bigger group of people. Even if it is, for example, your community work is finding ways to open up and broaden the resources, gather those resources together to achieve what's really important, the unifying principle that binds all these people at the concert together, right? Like we would bind a whole lot of stalks of wheat. We would bind them together. We'd roll them together like a big roll of wheat to concentrate and focus the resources we were gathering. So, coaching question, what resources did you become aware of that you needed to gather? Where were you harvesting? Okay, even if the year was tough, there's always a harvest. And what did you need to do to reach out into a bigger audience, into a big community? Is to reach out and leverage the resources all around you because they're there. Interesting questions for us to work with as we reflect back on 2023. And I hope that you do that reflection. I find it very personally useful to look back, and that's why I have built this into every episode we do is just reflecting back. What learning can we take? How can we move that forward? Because once we've internalized the learning, it's almost like a lot of the job is done. Like a lot of that redo we might have to think about going forward on the learning has been done because we've internalized it, we've processed it, we've created meaning and symbols, and we've connected the learning to our real world experiences. We've made it practical and real, which is very powerful. So while we're here, 2024, firstly, Happy New Year, all right? I wish for you an amazing year, an amazing 2024. And whatever happens, okay, we've got monthlies and weeklies and all kinds of things happening as we traverse this year together. We will do it together. We'll find ways to grow. Every week is an opportunity to find meaning, to find purpose and focus, and to unlock our talents and our gifts and our sense of joy and happiness. That's what we're going to do together over the year to come. So I cast the coins. Right. What should we focus on in 2024? We have a locked hexagram. Okay. And our hexagram is an interesting one. 23, splitting apart or stripping. Okay. Before we get into a state of absolute hysterics, that this is a locked energy for 2024, be assured that as we go through the monthlies and the weeklies, things will be different, the flows will be different, and this annual overview almost gives us a very broad, high-level view of the cycles of change we're all going through. Last year we had, quite a lot of changing lines. It was really, really intense. There was, all these steps of change with all those changing lines. This year it's locked, okay? There's no changing lines. This is what it is, okay? The I Ching is asking us to double down on hexagram 23. And this hexagram, we look at the structure. We see a whole lot of female yin lines. At the top is a male yang line. Now, this represents a house, right? In a way, similar idea structurally to hexagram 28, where we have that pressure pushing down. But here we have a whole lot of little female lines which form that pillar, that form the walls or the structure of the house. And we have this male line right at the top, symbolizing the roof. And there's this energy that the walls are not strong enough to hold up the roof. Okay. There's a risk of collapse. Why is there a collapse in this house? The house represents ourselves. So we have to work with this hexagram and we take it and we say, right, I am the house, right? I am my own temple. And how do I think about my life as this house and the structures that I've created and the energy that is threatening to collapse the walls because the walls are not strong enough? So this hexagram says, what we do, our focus, is we recognize wherever there is a threat of collapse is where there is something old, outdated, and done. Okay. Don't we just love holding on to the old ways, our own stuff, our own ways, our old habits, our own ways of thinking, our physical stuff? Okay. Collapse comes in areas of our lives, of our businesses, where the old, outdated, outmoded, long gone stuff remains and therefore threatens the structure and the stability of what we have. So, the year ahead, 2024, we recognize that we can be proactive. There might be some aspects of our world, of your life, that need to unravel a little bit. They're not going to get changed fundamentally on their own. And so this collapse happens in areas where we need to release something. But we can be, to a large extent, extremely proactive with how we deal with this hexagram, with this flow of change. How do we do that? We take a big old knife and we cut away everything that is old and outdated. Okay, we cut it out. Very different energy, similar idea to hexagram 41, decrease, where we are kind of going through austerity and reduce our spending, decrease our energy and our involvement to make that sacrifice for something of a greater good down the line. This is, we cut away what is no longer needed to save the house. Okay. Similar idea, different purpose or meaning underneath it. We take the knife. Sorry to be graphic. We take the knife. You'll see in the text reference to taking the knife and cutting all the excess flesh right down to the bone. Okay, you're cleaning off all that flesh, right? Sorry for the graphic image. And what that does, it reveals the bone. Okay, you're getting to the bare bones. This is the symbol we're working with. We're cutting away everything that's excess. We're pruning the tree back. We're cutting off dead wood. We are releasing old stuff. We are letting go of our psychological patterns that are old and outdated and no longer serve us. We are cleaning up the house. If you have felt an urge that in 2024, more than ever, you want to declutter your life, this is it. Okay, this energy is perfect for it because we can be proactive. We can go and cut back to what's really essential. Getting rid of excess, not just excess the way 41 decrease would talk about, excess spending. It's that, but it's also about what is old. You're cutting off the old meat, keeping the fresh, right? Oh, the graphicness of this image. You're cutting that all out, right? Cut, to preserve and stabilize the house. Use this energy in 2024. It's a locked hexagram, so in a way, it makes it a lot easier for us to really get focused. I mean, you could even go and get a picture of a pruning shears or a set of knives or whatever's comfortable for you, and stick that up in front of your desk or on your fridge or wherever you're commonly moving around in your home and in your business space, because it's a very focused image. No changing lines. This is it. Cut back what is old and outdated. You'll be confronted. I'll be confronted by the things in our consciousness that are old, right? Where we hold on to thinking in the same way. Where we find, collapse. We've got to kind of work out, is the collapse an old structure that is unraveling itself? And we might see this too in our external world, in our politics and in our governments and in our economies. This idea of collapse happening where something is old and outmoded. When we see that collapse, if there's nothing that we can do about it, we look at it with I Ching eyes and we say, to what extent is this collapse linked to an outdated, worn out old thing that should have been taken out with a knife ages ago? Make peace with wherever that collapse happens. Because that is what the I Ching brings us. We can start to see these patterns and the biofeedback that's happening all around us. And instead of getting fraught and emotional with change happening around us, we can see ourselves as being part of this merry dance, right? In this flow of change, we can say, right, cut back what is outdated and old within my mind, within my heart, within my physical world, within the way I relate to others in my relationships. Let us find new ways of getting rid of that old stuff, clearing out clutter on every level to take care and protect the house. That is our overview for 2024. I'll come back to it as we work with the monthlies. as we reconnect to the weeklies, we will come back to this idea of where can we strip away, splitting apart, letting the collapse happen where it is needed and it's beyond your control, and accepting what it brings you, the gift it brings you, but then being proactive wherever you can to strip away what is old and worn out. We'll do this together. We'll strip away together, and we will liberate ourselves into a much lighter being over this year as we work with this energy. Thank you so much. Please like and share if this was meaningful to you. And of course, you've been new to the channel and you've just landed here. It'd be really great if you hit that subscribe button with the bell so you get the notifications. And of course, if you've found this on the podcast edition, welcome. And same as well, hit that follow button. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon for our January overview as we work with what the I Ching is asking us to pay attention to for this first beautiful month of the year, and then into our weeklies from there. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon.